Presenting next is an avid rugby player who enjoys playing basketball with her brother, and she describes herself as a firecracker. And I have met her, and she is one.
Let's give a big round of applause for Mekwan with Start from Somewhere.
Danse, Mekwan Nisigasun, Nihio Isquil from Big River First Nations, Gisi Manto brought us together. As you know, my name's Mekwan, and that means feather in Cree. A little bit about myself, I come from a very cultured and traditional Cree background. And I'm here to ask you the question, what kind of future are you crafting by the life you're living today? Ever since I could remember, I've always been passionate about the environment in terms of protecting the land, the water, the air, and the animals. And that passion is greatly influenced by my family, by their stories, the action that they take in terms of protecting the land. And my journey to action started in the summer 2018, when I was asked on a road trip to go to Manitoba with my Nookum. And do you guys know what the Idle No More movement is, or the One House Many Nations is? The Idle No More movement is an indigenous movement it's meant to fight for treaties and protect the land. And the One House Many Nations falls into that, but more specifically around the housing crisis. And my journey to action started in summer 2018 when I got asked on the trip to Manitoba by my Nookum, which means my grandmother in Cree, to go work on a housing pilot project with her and a couple of architects and a contractor. While I was there, I got to experience working with a great team of people and really just putting our noggins together to create solutions and really just feed off of each other. The original goal of this house was for it to be completely sustainable, to not have any toxic or wasteful materials, and for it to be off the grid. And actually, this house, when the land shifted, the house was meant to shift with the land as well. So when we got there, we only had 1 week to complete this house in time before the opening housing day. And when we got there, it was so flooded that it was hard to get anywhere within the community, and especially the house, because it was surrounded by water. And right away, we started crafting and creating solutions and plans to keep a tight schedule and use our time wisely. While I was there, I got to work within the community and introduce the ideas of sustainability and get others involved and round up volunteers. I also got to participate in a workshop where we designed houses to create more sustainable ways of living and trying and create a solution for the housing crisis. And while I was there, we got to explore the area, and I met some great people, and we shared our ambitions with each other, and we really fed off of each other in that way, inspiring one another. And it was a great way to connect with the community. And there was this man where I'm just so inspired by his dream, and it's so eye-opening for me. So this man had a dream where he kind of just dropped everything and started to build this cabin. And in real life, he did. He basically dropped everything and started to build this cabin for his family. He had the land, he had the resources, so why not? And that inspires me because you have to start from somewhere. Even if it's the small positive actions, like one positive change a week can really add up. This is the house a couple months after the man settled in and is comfortable. But back to start from somewhere, I've always had the dream where I wanted to save the world and the climate and the earth from climate change and pollution. But it's so easy to get distracted or discouraged. And while I was there in that community, some of the areas that we explored, they had a logging factory there, and it's pictures like these that really feel like I get my dreams stomped on, kicked on, spat on, and it's really just the salt in the wound for me. I often think of myself, I'm just a kid, what do I know? And I'm just a kid. That really, for me, having a dream like that, it often gets ridiculed or it feels too ridiculous. And there was this quote that I read on Tumblr while I was scrolling through it one night. It was about time travel. And when they time travel to the past, they don't realize that, or no, they're so careful about not changing anything because it could drastically change the future. But right now, today, we could do something small and significant, and it could drastically change the future for the better. And even if those small actions are just turning off the power or cutting down on the water and the amount of waste that we produce, it could be small actions of love, like buying Cheerio seeds and saving the bees. I often think of people living in their own bubble where it's so perfect in their world, or they're just so consumed about what's happening in there that they don't really know what's happening down the street or across the world. But right now, I want to help each other and come together to help people become aware of what they're crafting and the direction that we're heading towards, the type of future that we will have. Thank you.